Yo, what's up guys? This is Hayes. I am back again with another video, this time just reflecting on my 3.7 mil honor run. Um, as you guys know, shades inherently have a low critical rate, and so ever since I started playing my shade, I've always wanted to have 100% crit because your damage literally doubles. Yeah, it fucking literally doubles. I have 100% max crit when I have speed and sharp eyes, and that effectively doubles your damage. Um, so basically what happened was I didn't roll anything good. Well, I did, but I didn't roll the crit rate I was looking for. The way this works is basically you have your first line, which is legendary, your second line, which is can be anything from rare to unique. So like you see these like plus int 9, plus strength 7. These are just these are what do you call uh, epic lines. So the second line critical chance, the rate is so astronomically low, guys. Getting percent crit rate on the second line would be the same probability as you tearing up from epic to unique and getting the crit line, if that makes sense. So I think let's say just I don't know what the percentages are, but let's just say for the sake of argument that the chance of keeping your current inner ability tier is 50%, and the chance to tier up, let's say, is 30%. Okay, and the probability that you get a crit line while on unique is, let's say, 5%. All right, let's give it 10%. So 50% to keep your current state, 30% to tier up, um, 30% to tier up, and 10% chance to get crit while you're in unique. Okay, so the chance of you getting a second line of crit on your inner ability, a second line of crit on your inner ability, is 30% times 10%, which is 3%. Now, 3% might sound like very little, but let's put this in context, because keep in mind that the actual percentages are even lower. So we're really talking about like maybe 10% chance to tier up, and maybe like a 0.5% chance to get critical rate. You multiply those, so 10%, that's zero point 0.1 times 0.05. We're talking about probably like 0.005%, guys. 0.005%, which is, oh boy, 0.005%. Yeah, that's 1/120th of a percent. Okay, that's insanely small probability. Um, and honestly, I think, upon retrospection, I think I was a little bit too in my head, and I saved up 3.7 mil honor over the course of 2 years. Yeah, I saved up 3.7 mil honor over the course of 2 years. When I started, the viable medal of honors weren't even a thing. Um, Now I made a mistake over here where I started keeping that line of buff duration, because it's actually useful for shades for people who don't know. Buff duration allows you to keep speed infusion and sharp eyes longer. And when fifth job comes, there's going to be a cooldown on those two skills. So the longer you can keep that buff duration up, the better it is for you. Personally, I don't use an Android or a Battleroid, because I don't like to have too much clutter around my character. So I have to use buff freezers, and those are limited. Okay, so um, and it's just, obviously I'm not happy about my results, but this was an illuminating experience for me. It was a disillusionment that 3.7 mil was not nearly enough honor to get to get critical chance on your second ability. That if I had wanted to, if I wanted to keep my inner ability, I'm sorry, if I wanted to roll my inner ability, I would have to invest at least 50 mil honor. That's 5,000 rolls to have a competent chance of getting my critical rate on second line. So, at that point, it's kind of like you consider how much investment it would take. Now, first thing you have to ask yourself always when you're going for a big goal is this worth it? I have to evaluate, is this goal worth it to have 100% crit? Um, my answer is yes, I think it is. And the reason is that there is no time limit on when I have to get it. Um, I can take 5 years, 10 years to get it. Um, if it means that I have to, to put that much investment into it, like, so the first question I asked myself was, is it worth it? And I've made my decision. I said, yes, it is worth getting this honor second ability. And the second question I had to ask myself is it possible? Okay. Is it, and I don't mean it's possible in a probability sense, like mathematically, is there a greater than 0% chance of this being achievable? I'm talking about humanly. Is it like within the reach of a human being to accomplish this? And the answer to that is also yes. I've seen it done before, albeit with amazing luck, and it's going to be a long shot. This is not going to be something that you can simply spend like $100 to get. This is something that you need a lot of luck. I feel like if I were to farm honor just through events, um, through killing elite mobs, daily bossing, whatever, that um, it's gonna take me at least 5 years to get 50 mil honor. Um, so in 5 years, I'll be 25 years old, and if I dedicate myself religiously toward this goal, I feel like it is accomplishable. Um, so so the first question I asked guys was, is it worth it? Is it worth getting this goal? Does it inspire that much? Does it give that much meaning to my life? The idea of getting the second inner ability that I will sacrifice enough things that because at the end of the day, guys, all we have is life. Okay, all we have is your life, and what you invest in your life into determines who you are and how much you're worth. Okay, it sounds kind of cynical when I put it that way, but I don't mean to say how much you're worth, but I mean how much you feel like you've gotten out of life is how much you invest. And I feel like the whole point of life is to do life exhausting things. The whole point of life is to use it up as intensely as you can and be and produce as much as you can. Um, and I feel like the goal, which direction you're headed in, whether that's culinary arts, whether that's bodybuilding, or just making money in general, I feel like the goal is irrelevant. It's arbitrary which goal is better than the other. A lot of people have this conception, they have this idea that, oh, you're only a wrestler. Well, I'm a Wall Street investor. I'm a high risk investor. I make more money than you. Therefore, my passion, my desire in life is superior. I don't believe that. I think that at the end of the day, money is just it's ephemeral. Okay, it comes and goes. It's easy come, easy go. Money. What the point of life is to accomplish as much as you can. It is to it's to find something that gives meaning to your life and pursue it, and expanding yourself as far as you can and stretching yourself to see the absolute apex, the furthest you can reach within your means, that to reach the capacity of humanly limitations, and to ascend the God mode. That was my, I used to be 250 pounds, so that was my dogma when I first started lifting weights, or not when I first started losing weight. Sorry, I didn't lift weights until a few years ago. When I first started, uh, lifting weights, this was also a long time ago. I think it was in high school, senior year of high school, and I was 250 pounds at 5'7", and like I honestly never had an issue with my weight, but long story short, like there was a female, okay, pretty common story, I know. There was a girl, and I I was so disappointed that my weight was holding me back. That in terms of confidence, my weight was holding me back. That I wanted to lose the weight, and I've always had a very cocky mindset, and that sometimes rubs people the wrong way. My cocky mindset, but in this case, it helped me because when I first started losing weight, um, my my belief was that, oh yeah, this is absolutely possible. The only reason why I haven't lost the weight is that I didn't want to. You know, uh, I didn't care about losing weight because I was fat and happy. I ate as much as I wanted. I loved the food, and that was my perspective at the time. And I was very I was very confident in aspects that didn't involve women. Like in terms of hanging out with friends, doing things, speaking up, I was very extroverted. Um, I started losing weight, and it took me about 3 months to drop 50 pounds. So after 3 months, I was at 200 pounds, and that was just purely, I mean, cutting out some junk food. That was easy. But as I tried to get smaller and smaller, I would have these stages where I lose 10 pounds and then gain 10 pounds, or lose 15 pounds and gain back 10 pounds. And so in that fashion, I slowly lost the weight, taking 2 steps forward and one step back, or sometimes 1.5 step forward and 1 step back. In that fashion, I started losing weight, and I eventually dropped down to uh, like 180. And at that point, I looked like a normal human being. And then after that, at 180 pounds, I was sort of complacent. It was 2 years ago. Uh, I was sort of complacent, 1 or 2 years ago. I was sort of complacent, because I felt, I look like a normal human being. And it wasn't until I met a roommate where we lived together in the same room. So sometimes he comes back, I would just see his physique, and I'm like, fuck, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? That physique is fucking insane. Like, literally, this dude's physique was, I mean, it wasn't even that great, but I was just marveled at how differently I looked and how differently he looked. We were 2 inches apart in height, and this dude had a trim ass waist, broad shoulders, two large lumps of muscle on his chest, and thick arms, and just a powerful looking physique in general. And I was just so mesmerized by the idea, the transformative powers of bodybuilding, that that it drove me to dedicate everything I had toward it. Um, and genetically, and mentally, I didn't have the best parents. My parents never raised me to be a tough, resilient motherfucker who doesn't take no for an answer. Um, and so compared to people with good parents, with good uprisings, I obviously wasn't the cream of the crop. But I figured that I still had my life, and that's the thing I had before. That's the thing you have at the end of the day. Um, and so I said, because I felt like my life at that point was so worthless. All I did was just go to school, and get good grades, apply to a college. Everything I did was listless. I felt like, I felt like there was no point to life. I felt like, man, what's the point of doing this? I'm just doing. I'm Going to school to make money, okay, to find a job and make money so that I can sustain myself. And so, what's the point of sustaining myself? Well, it's to go to work. The point of me putting food on the table and eating it and using up those calories is so I can continue to work to do the same thing. And maybe on the side I'll get like a girlfriend. Maybe I'll get married and have a kid, or I'll adopt a kid. Um, but at the end of the day, you're just living to live. What's the point of that? I'd rather die. How tiring is it to wake up each and every morning and have to eat breakfast, brush your teeth, wash your face, and then in the nighttime to take a shit and you have to go shower. That is the most banal, boring, repetitive shit possible. That is literally hell. To do all these cumbersome things day in and day out. And so there is no point in living unless you're doing something that's worthwhile. Unless you're pouring your life energy, the juice of your life into something that you find worthwhile doing. Something that captivates your attention. Something that grabs you and you dream about it. You understand? Like it means everything to you. It embodies your existence. Is that it's like it's like without it there is no point to live. And I'm not saying this as like a depression, like, oh my god, my life sucks so much. You know what I'm saying? This is not about suicide. I'm talking about what philosophically, okay, logically, I was evaluating my life and considering what what my life was worth, where I was going, and what I was going to do with it, and the general meaning of my life. And I found that because even if bodybuilding seems trivial, that I wanted to pour my life into something because I don't want to die, but then I want to live. So it was a great excavation for me to find bodybuilding. And that mindset has transferred onto this inner ability thing too. Um, you know, like I said, the first question I asked was, is it worth it? The second question I asked was, is it possible? And to be honest, the second question is irrelevant. Okay. The second question is irrelevant because just like in bodybuilding, I was 250 pounds overweight. Is it possible for me to achieve the same level of leanness and dryness as like a professional bodybuilder? Um, you know, is it possible? Is it possible for me to be 6 foot tall and look like Jeff Stein, or to look like Arnold and be huge, well proportioned? Um, It might not. I'm only 5'7". I don't have the best genetics in terms of building muscle or strength. I don't have the best attitude sometimes. It might not be possible at all. I might live my whole life, 50 years or however long it lasts. It might take my whole life and I'll never accomplish that goal. But what's important to me and what I found is that, well, motherfucker, you can't do it, but you still want to try. Because it's not about the end goal, it's about what you're doing with your life right now. It's about what you're spending your time on each and every day and how much it fulfills you mentally. That's the most important thing to me is that what I'm doing with my own two hands, am I doing something that I genuinely want to do? Or with my two hands, am I doing something to keep me alive? Am I thriving or am I coping through life? That's my mindset, guys. Um, So I did not get my inner ability this time, and I mean, obviously, I'm not happy about it, but every time I go through an adversity and something bad happens, whether I mean, and of course, you might laugh like, "Oh, this motherfucker! It's only a Maple Story." Like, why are you being so obsessed? And you know, uh, yeah, you're right. I mean, if that's your perspective, then that's your perspective. Anywho, that's been the video, guys. Uh, Hope you enjoyed it. I did not get my inner ability, but look out. Next time in maybe 3, 4 years, I will be back with an even more magnificent run, I'll be using over 10 mil honor for this motherfucker. Okay, at least 10, going for 15. Okay.